They work all the time, 100% of the time, for everyone who applies them. So in jumping in here, let's just jump into the meat of the matter, because I want you to get some stuff here today that you can take away from this call, and that you can apply in your life immediately to start producing results. So let's talk about something very important. There we go. Okay, so there. So what is reality? What is reality? If I ask you what reality is, what would your answer be? Now, most people will say, well, it's what I can see with my eyes and ears, see with my eyes, hear with my ears. It's the world about me, and everything material that exists there. And that's really one of the types of reality, which is perceptual reality, right? And that's relative, and it's based upon beliefs and assumptions. It's based upon what you believe to be true, and it's based upon what your physical senses tell you is real. But there's really another type of reality. And by the way, that perceptual reality changes. It changes based upon our beliefs and assumptions. It changes based upon the perceptions that we have with our physical senses, which means it isn't absolute. There is one absolute reality. And that absolute reality is principle-based. It's based on laws of the universe. It's infinite intelligence, source energy, whatever you choose to call it, God, if you will, and the law, the principles that it put into play at the beginning of time, okay? And so that is the one absolute reality. Now, most of us have been taught to believe in the perceptual reality, which is why we don't understand that we can have precise outcomes anytime that we choose to in our lives. But you've got to apply the law in order for that to be the case. Let's talk about perceptual reality and what that really means to us. If you look at that picture there, and some of you may have seen this before, if you look at the picture up on your screen, what are you seeing there? Now, some people are going to look at that picture and they're going to see an old woman, right? Other people are going to look at that picture and they're going to see a young woman. Now, regardless of which of the two you see, right, whichever one you see, you're saying, if I see the old woman, you're going, there's no young woman there. If you're seeing the young woman, you're going, there's no old woman there. The reality of it is that it's a perceptual picture, because if you look at it from this perspective, like a woman who's looking forward, right, and she's rather rustic looking, this is her eye. She's very, old and wrinkly. She's got a big old nose with a wart on it, right? This is her mouth right here, right? And this is her chin, and she must live in a cold climate because it's tucked deep into her coat, and she's got this scarf over her head and a feather in her hair, right? Now, if you're looking at it from a different perspective, right? If you want to see the young woman and you can't see the young woman's actually looking away. Her face is looking away like that. And so, this is the ear of the young woman. This is the nose. This is her chin. And she's wearing some kind of a necklace on her neck, right? And she's looking away from the screen, right? And so, to see the different reality, you've got to change your perspective. You've got to change your point of view, right? And so that's how we can understand, what perceptual reality is all about. Now, if we could go to the next slide, look at those two drawings right there, and look at the middle line in those two drawings, and which one is longer? Well, this one here looks a lot longer than that one, doesn't it? However, I've measured them, and they are exactly the same size, okay? This is just another one of those things that shows us that our so let's talk about another law here, okay? Because this law is the master law of the universe, if you will. It's called the law of cause and effect. You may have heard of it, and it says that every cause produces an effect, and every effect has its cause. Now, what most people don't understand is that causes are non-physical things, okay? Thought is cause. material things are effect. And, you know, everything that we see in the material world had its beginnings in thought. The chair you're sitting in was a thought in somebody's mind before it became a chair. The desk you're sitting in, the house that you're living in, everything was a thought in somebody's mind, an idea in somebody's mind before it became material. The universe was a thought in the mind of the infinite before it became material. Okay? Which is why the saying goes, as a man or woman thinks in his or her heart, so is he or she. Okay? Because causes are invisible. And as we think in our subconscious mind, which is the heart in that particular verse, that is the result that we will produce in our lives. So everybody's heard about the secret, right? The big secret is that thoughts are things. You may have heard that if you've read the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Thoughts are things. But they are the most powerful things in the whole entire universe because they are the cause of everything in the universe. Here's the big secret, right? And you may have read the book, The Secret. You may have seen the movie, The Secret. And it talks about the law of attraction, right? Now, the law of attraction is actually the operating law, right? Like the operating system of a computer. It is the operating system, if you will, of the law of cause and effect. It is the way that the law of cause and effect works, okay? And so the law of attraction says that you attract what you are. You attract what you're in vibration with, right? And your vibration is created by what you think, imagine, and feel all day long. Now, a lot of times people go, well, gee, but, you know, I've been thinking about being a millionaire. I've been thinking about being wealthy. I've been thinking about having all my dreams come true. I've been thinking about all this. In fact, I've been meditating for 15, 20 minutes every single day on I'm wealthy, I'm a millionaire, but it's just not happening. This law of attraction thing must not work. Well, wait a second, you know? I mean, so you spent 15 minutes thinking about and meditating on being a millionaire, being rich, being wealthy. What about the other, right? Let's say you're awake 16 hours a day, you sleep 8, right? So there's 16 hours of waking time in a day, right? 15 of those minutes you spent meditating and visualizing yourself as being wealthy, a millionaire, et cetera, et cetera. How about the other 16, how about the other 15 hours and 45 minutes, right? What were you thinking the other 15 hours and 45 minutes? Do you ever worry? Do you ever think about your problems? Do you ever think about, you know, what your boss thinks of you? Do you ever think about what your friends think about you? Do you ever think about, you know, what's going on in the country and the economy? Do you ever worry about not being able to pay your bills? Do you ever worry about not paying your mortgage? Do you ever worry about maybe losing your house? Do you ever worry? Do you watch the news? Do you listen to all of that doom and gloom and all that stuff going on? Do you ever pay attention to those things? Because if you do, you're giving your thought, right? You're giving your thought to those things, right? And those negative things are creating fear and doubt and worry in you. Worry is using the law of attraction for negative purposes. It's using it in reverse. See, everything is two things. It's the thing you want and the absence of the thing you want, the lack of the thing you want. So when you think about something, see, I say to people, well, are you thinking about what you want? And they go, yeah, I'm thinking about what I want. And I go, great, how does it make you feel? Well, I'm anxious. Well, why are you anxious? See, because here's the thing. If you're thinking about what you desire, right, and believing that you already have it or it's on its way to you, I mean, people don't understand, like, for example, you know, scriptures and so forth are such gems of universal law. Such gems of universal law. Whatever you desire when you pray, believe that you have it and you shall have it. Okay? So that people think praying means, you know, sitting there with their hands saying, please God, please God, please God. You know, prayer is contemplation. Whatever you think about, contemplate, visualize, imagine all the time, believing that you already have it, you shall have it. Okay? Now, when you believe that you already have it, that means that you're happy. That means you're joyous. That means you're excited. That's what that means, right? I mean, you're not all anxious. If you believe that you already had it, you'd be grateful, you'd be appreciative, you'd be happy, you'd be joyful, you'd be thankful, right? Not stressed out, anxious. Because see, some people, what they do is they think about what they desire, right? And they think about, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be successful, I want to be rich, but they know they're not. And in their knowing that they're not, they are saying, I gotta be a millionaire, I gotta be a millionaire, I gotta be rich, I gotta be, right? Or I gotta have that person. In that anxiety, in that negative vibration, what they're putting out to the universe is not the thought of I am, I have, I do. It's I don't have, I am not, and I do not. Okay? And so this is an inclusion-based universe. There is no such thing as no. So when you say no, right, guess what you're getting? You're focusing on the thing that you don't want, and you're getting the thing that you don't want. That's the big issue that most people have with the law of attraction. As a matter of fact, the law of attraction works quite well. What most people don't understand is that positive thoughts are at least 100 times more powerful than a negative thought. If they weren't, most people would be way worse off than they are right now because they spend way more time thinking negative thoughts and worrying and doubting and fearing than they do having positive thought. And so, I mean, be glad that the law of attraction doesn't work better than it does, because a lot of people would be bringing all kinds of grief into their life if that was the case, okay? But when you learn to direct your thoughts and you learn to direct your mind on purpose, the results are amazing, okay? Go to the next slide, please, Larry. So, the big question is, what do you think about all day long? Do you think about your dreams, desires, and aspirations? Or do you think about your worries, doubts, fears, and everything you don't want in life, right? So here's the big question. Why do we think the way we think, right? What is it that makes us think the thoughts that we think on an ongoing basis, okay? I came up with a model about 15 years ago that has proven invaluable in teaching people these concepts in the seminars that I've done around the world. So if we could go to the next slide. That model is called the cycle of success, or the cycle of life. And here's the basis of all of this. We come into this world as unlimited potential. I mean, we are like the most incredible supercomputer ever made, with superpowers beyond your wildest imagination. Okay, next slide. I mean, we've got an unbelievable graphics card, sound card, memory, I mean, just warehousing space. I mean, amazing, but no programs. Incredible operating system, but no programs, right? And then the people that are in charge of our life, the ones that were put there to protect us and take care of us, they start programming us. But what do they program us with? They program us with what they know, right? You know, in life, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't give what you don't have, right? And by the way, no guilt, no judgment. I'm not anti anything or anybody. I believe that every single person in this world does the absolute best they can at every moment in time according to their level of awareness. Okay? The question is what is their level of awareness? So we come into this world as this unlimited potential, and all these people sit down at our keyboard, right? The keyboard of our mind, and they sit there and they start programming us with the things that they know and what they have, including their limitations, including their fears, including their worries, including, all the negative things they have in their life. They give us all the positive. They're trying to give us positive, but their experience is their experience. If they think the world is a dangerous place, that's what they're going to pass off to us. If they think that people are bad and out to get you, that's what they're going to pass off to us. If they believe that it's hard to get ahead and it's hard to become wealthy, that's what they're going to pass along to us. If they believe that that money is the root of all evil, that's what they're going to pass on to us. So you see over here that external stimuli and random experiences, right, conditioning, by our parents, by the family members, teachers, friends, all of the all of the authority figures, if you will, in your life, right? They start conditioning you randomly, right? Randomly. And at the end of the day, that produces our mindset. That produces a series of beliefs. Your mindset is nothing more than a series of beliefs. Some of those beliefs are giant sets of belief that are so huge that they deserve their own category, like identity, right? Identity is all this giant set of beliefs about your self-concept, who you believe that you are. And that identity, that concept, that self-concept will determine what you're willing to do in life, what you're willing to try, the type of people that you'll hang around with, the results that you'll produce. It is the single most important of all concepts for us and beliefs, because the belief about who we are determines what we will do in our life. Okay? Then there's other giant sets of belief like values, which is the things that are important to us in our life, the things that are important for us to draw closer to and to get nearer to, the emotional states in particular, and the things that we want to avoid in life. And then there's another area that I call philosophy of life, because these are big, giant sets of belief about important areas in our life, okay? Things like money, things like the government, things like people, the world. These are big, huge, giant sets of beliefs that we have within us that keep directing us in certain directions automatically. And so these are things like, your beliefs about worthiness, your beliefs about being deserving, your beliefs about being good enough. And so this philosophy of life will dictate a lot of different areas in our lives. And the bottom line is that our mindset with this series of beliefs, and this is what is referred to as the heart in a lot of the scriptures of all the different wisdom, literature, religions, whatever you want to call them. So this mindset is really the core set of beliefs and assumptions, what we assume to be true for our lives that we don't think about anymore. It's automatic. That's why the program is called Automatic Riches. One of my programs is called Automatic Riches, and the reason for that is it's not that it's some business deal to get into and it's going to make you rich automatically. No, 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 no. It is that each and every one of us is producing results in our lives automatically based upon our predominant beliefs, based upon our mindset. Because see, here's what happens. Your mind will form a shield. It'll form what it's called actually by psychologists perceptual filters. That's what this blue line up here is. And these perceptual filters are, at every moment in time, we're bombarded with millions of stimuli, and so your mind would go nuts if it paid attention to all of it at the same time. So in order to pay attention to what it deems important, it sets up these filters in advance to know what information is relevant. We let that information in, and the stuff that we just, don't need to deal with because it's automatically being taken care of or disagrees with our belief system, we kind of block. So it's kind of like the Star Wars movie that they put up the force field around, the mothership, and then, they'll let in the friendly ships, but the force field comes up when enemy attack comes about, and that force field keeps out the enemy. So any information that agrees with your mindset automatically penetrates the force shield, right? But information that does not agree with your mindset, it blocks automatically, right? And so the very information that we may need in order to transform our lives, to change our lives, to go to a different level, is the very information that those perceptual filters are blocking, okay? Now, here's how the process works. Our mindset, okay, this big, huge series of beliefs, will determine everything in our life from the desires that we'll have, right? And some people go, what do you mean the desire? Yeah, from even the desires that we'll have. You ever wonder why some people want Mercedes Benz and some people think that, those cars are decadent, or some people want Rolex watches and things like that, and other people go, oh, that's garbage, that's not important. Your mindset, in particular your identity, will determine the desires that you even allow yourself to have. Those desires will determine the decisions that you'll make. The decisions that you make will determine the actions that you'll take. And by the way, not making a decision is taking a decision. Not taking an action is taking an action. And decisions and actions repeated over time, over and over and over and over, turn into habits and abilities. We're here at the automatic phase. And these habits and abilities that now you perform automatically and you do really, really well produce results. And these results will always be congruent, in keeping 100% with your mindset. So what do people want to do when they want to produce different results in their lives? Well, they'll typically come over here and try to control their actions. They'll typically come over here and try to, by willpower, will themselves to take different and better actions. The actions are just the results of decisions, which are the results of desires, which are the results of the mindset. They're a result of the beliefs, the identity, the values. By the time you're here to habits and abilities, you're at the automatic stage. See, we go through 4 levels of competence in our lives, right? When we don't know anything, like, you see a piano for the first time, you don't even know what it is, you are unconsciously incompetent. You don't even know what a piano is. Somebody sits down, plays some notes, you go, wow, makes some pretty sounds. It's interesting, right? So now, and then you sit down and you try to do the same thing as the person did, and you can't do it. So now you are consciously incompetent, right? But maybe you go, wow, it's worth learning how to do this, because this is really cool, the sounds this instrument plays. So you start taking classes, and as you take those classes, now you become consciously competent. Now you've got to sit there and go, left hand do this, right hand do that. Yeah, no, the black key, the white key, and you just got to keep looking, and you can play it, but it's not easy, because you're competent consciously. Means you have to keep paying attention to it, right? So the conscious part of the mind is the one doing the playing, right? Now, there's 2 phases of mind, and I just want to give this to you really quick: the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind processes about 15 bits of information per second. The subconscious mind processes 15 million bits of information per second. So whatever you have to do with the conscious mind, you don't do too well. The conscious mind is for inductive reasoning. It is for comparing series of facts and arriving at conclusions that are based on logic, intellect, right? Science, hopefully, instead of superstition. The subconscious mind, though, is the one that takes care of all of the automatic functions. That is the one that keeps your body alive, that breathes, that breathes, I invented a new word, that breathes, that circulates your blood, that detoxifies the blood. All the automatic functions are taken care of by the subconscious mind. Habits and abilities are things, actions, and thought processes and patterns that have become automatic. That is what produces the results. So if you want to change the results, the key to changing a result is changing your beliefs, changing your mindset. Because changing your mindset will change this whole cycle automatically. And that's the key. If you want to produce positive, good results in whatever area of your life it may be. I mean, success in business, wealth, riches, yeah. But, it could be, losing 20 pounds or 50 pounds, having your ideal body. It could be finding your ideal mate. It could be having ideal health. I mean, anything that you desire in your life, living in happy, joyous, emotional states, whatever it is you desire in your life, the key to it is developing the right mindset. And by developing that right mindset, you will automatically make the right decisions, actions, produce the right habits and abilities, produce the right results. Okay? That is really the key to the whole shooting match. So let's move on here quickly. So every single one of us is at a certain point in our lives right now. Okay? And for lack of a better word, let's just call it point A. Now, I know some people say, hey, Carlos, I'm 40 years old. I'm not at point A, I'm at Q in my life. You know, my philosophy on that is the past is past. You can't do anything about it. Today's the first day of the rest of your life. All we got to work with is from here on forward. The past, you should just learn as much from it as possible, right? But don't set it as your precedent for what you can do in the future, because it isn't, okay? It's just, where does it live? It only lives in your mind. So learn what you can from it, let it go, and let's focus on where we are right now. Now, the problem is most people where they are right now, they're not happy where they are right now. So where do they want to be? Let's go to the next slide. Where they want to be, okay, is point B, right? Now notice that it's a little bit bigger than point A. Why do you think that is? Well, how many people do you know that are not satisfied where they are because they think they have too much? They need to give some back, right? No, right? Most of us want more than what we've got. So the $24 million question is how do we go from point A, where we are, to point B, where we truly desire to be? And honestly, I mean, if you knew, wouldn't you be there already? Of course, right? If we knew, we'd be there already. So how do we get from point A to point B? And that really, ladies and gentlemen, is the topic of, the book that I'm coming out with in January, right? The Ultimate Success Formula. Because what I've learned over the past 30 years studying success is that there are formulas for success that work 100% of the time. Now I saw, I glance at the chat every so often and so forth, even though I kind of like, don't like to get too lost in that, because then, it ruins my train of thought. But I saw somebody there saying, well, quote Hanel, that's where it comes from, this and that. Let me tell you, all this stuff is not my original anything. The only thing that's original is the way that I've put it all together and synthesized it. I have studied Napoleon Hill. I have studied Charles Hanel. I've studied Wallace Wattles. I mean, my mentors have been people like Tony Robbins, Dennis Waitley, Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn. So, this is not, I didn't invent this stuff. There's nothing new under the sun. I've studied wisdom literature and wise people, and that's where all this stuff comes from. And yes, I've read a lot of Hanel, okay, from the Master Key System to Mental Alchemy to, some of his more far out stuff, the teachings of the yogis and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I've studied, here in my library, if I panned around, you could see I have over a couple thousand books, and I'm just a student of success, okay? And so the original stuff that I have here is the way I put this stuff together and synthesize it, because this stuff isn't easy to understand. I've read Thomas Troward, okay, which is even harder to understand than Hanel. So, the bottom line is there is a formula, if you'll go to the next slide, that will take you from where you are to where you truly desire to be, okay, if you'll just follow the formula. And this is what what the book that I'm coming out with in January is all about. And this has been one of the central points of the teachings that I've done over the past 30 years. Because being a student of success, I've always been trying to figure out why things happen, right? When success happens, why does it happen? When it doesn't happen, why doesn't it happen? There's times that it's happened for me and times it hasn't happened for me, okay? So, the bottom line is that there is this formula, and this formula boils down to, and I've got a couple different versions of it, some more spiritual, some more business related. They're all, they're all 100% on point. Okay, so step number one in the formula is you got to get leverage. Okay, you got to figure out where you are right now in your life, and you got to determine, right, what it is that you desire. Because if you don't know what you want, if we think back, because I don't want to mess with this presentation, think back to the drawing on the previous slide of point A and point B, right? People, here you are at point A, you want to be at point B, right? What's the key? The key is, what is point B? The getting leverage part is knowing where you are right now and knowing what you don't like about it, being dissatisfied, with various different areas of your life. So the leverage comes from, knowing what it is that you hate, that you dislike, that you just are not willing to put up with anymore in your life. Okay? But then once you've determined that, and once you know that you just don't want to put up with this anymore, right? That's where the leverage comes in, right? Then the key is, well, what is it that I want? What is it that I truly desire in my life? You've got to define point B. Now, I know that most people, the problem is that, they've been disappointed before. They had big dreams, they had big goals, and they wanted to really accomplish it, and they got hurt. They failed in business, or a job didn't go the way they wanted to, or maybe it's about relationships. Maybe what you want is a loving relationship with a soulmate, and maybe in the past you've been hurt. You were in a relationship, it was abusive, somebody left you, whatever, or maybe it's a weight issue, maybe it's, a situation about your health. People are afraid to say, I want this specifically, because they're afraid that they won't get it. And how many times have we been told, well, don't set your sights too high, because I wouldn't want you to get hurt, or let's be realistic, because I don't want you to get hurt. I mean, even our parents tried to protect us many, many times with not having high expectations so that we wouldn't get hurt, right? But guess what? How can you get what you want in life if you don't know what it is, right? How can you get what you want in life if you don't know what it is? What is realistic? Well, reality is we're infinite beings. Reality is that we're individualizations of infinite intelligence. We're extensions of source energy. Okay, so, what limitations do we have? I don't think we know. But I think that whatever it is that we desire right now, okay, is probably small compared to the potential that we have. Now, some people will go, well, but can a broke guy expect to be a millionaire? Well, I don't know. I mean, can some dumb kid start hacking on a computer at the age of 11 or 12, and then in college, start creating a website, for friends to share stuff on, and this and that and the other thing? And today, today they got close to 1 billion people on Facebook. I mean, was he a genius when that whole thing started? I mean, what's the deal with that, right? I mean, when you stop and you think about it, where can we go? Look at what Google's doing today. Look at what Amazon's doing. Look at what Apple's doing. I mean, look at what Facebook is doing. I mean, think about this. What limitations do we have? We really don't have many, okay? And so, whatever you desire right now, whether it's to be a millionaire, or whether it's to make, $200, $300, $400, $500,000 a year, whether it's to, have a dream home on the ocean, or whether it's to fund a school for underprivileged children, whether it's, build a church, whatever it is, send your kids to the best colleges, travel around the world with your spouse, your soulmate, whatever it is, okay, you've got to get clear on it, and not just one thing. I tell people, what do you want your ideal life to be like? That's what you got to focus in on. And before we worry about how we're going to get there, because see, that's part of the problem that so many people do, is they start thinking about what they want and then thinking about how they're going to get there. First, you got to decide what you want before worrying what you're going to get there. I had a mentor who used to say all the time, if the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. Okay? If you know why, you'll figure out how. So get leverage, know what you don't want, then get really clear on what you do want. Truly define your desires and get really, really descriptive about it. I mean, get very, very clear about it. Then you establish your intentions. Establishing your intentions is all about commitment. Commitment is the power behind a dream. And the way that you do this is you take these things that you desire in your life, right? And you write down all the benefits that you'll gain from having it, okay? Let's say you want to make $250,000 a year or $500,000 a year. What will having that kind of an income get for you? What will it do for you? What will it do for your soulmate or spouse? What will it do for your kids? What will it do for your parents? What will it do for your friends? What will it do for your community? What will it do for your business? What will it do for the world at large? See, the why behind it is the most important thing. So you establish an intention by getting really clear on what it is that you want and why you want it. Okay? That's the power. An intention, see, the difference between a wish or a desire and an intention is that an intention has commitment behind it. A wish or a desire is something you think about, have a pipe dream about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But until you put a clearly defined intention or commitment behind it, it has no power. Okay? Then what you got to do, and this is the part I didn't get for a long, long time. I made millions, lost millions until I figured this one out, is we all have blocks. We all have limiting beliefs, memories, emotional traumas, things that we don't know, things we don't know. In my book, I talk about a story how, Castro came into Cuba the day before I was born. I mean, I grew up my first 4 years of my life in fear of loss and, people getting killed and, all kinds of different things that I didn't even realize were buried inside of me until just a few years ago. Okay, so you've got these blocks that sometimes they're limiting beliefs like, money is the root of all evil, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. All rich people are going to hell. All rich people are evil. Things like that. Those are the easy ones. It's the unworthiness and undeservingness and fear that we have buried in us from a very young age, from before we knew how to speak. That's the insidious stuff that takes time to dig into and get rid of. So you've got to define what those blocks are. Limiting beliefs, limiting programs, and then also the nonverbal stuff that's traumatic, okay? And there's processes to go about doing that. Then the next step in the formula is you got to get clear. You got to get clear, stay clear, and align. And the way that you do this is there's various different processes for how to change limiting beliefs, okay? If we had time, I could walk you through a bunch of different strategies on here on how to change a limiting belief, from the tabletop method to mind-bending language to something I call the Mickey Mouse strategy. Bunch of different great strategies for changing limiting beliefs. But then there's also the more difficult traumatic part, and that rises up as as emotions, right? And when you have negative emotions that surface, what do you do with those emotions? Most people suppress them and push them back down, okay? Well, the key emotion is emotion, energy in motion. That's what an emotion is. All energy wants to be in motion all the time, is in motion all the time. If you suppress it, it turns into dis-ease in your body. So the key is to welcome the emotion and let it go, release it. And again, there's a bunch of different processes that we can teach you on exactly how to do that. Maybe we'll come back another time and do that. I guess this is more of a getting to know me and what my material is all about. So the key is to get clear, stay clear, know that you're a child of God, know that you're a child of infinite intelligence, an extension of infinite mind. You have all the potential in the world. And so, get aligned and get into a confident state, and then take action from that confident state. Okay, so I teach people how to write a flexible plan of action, how to take a look at the metrics that are most important in their business, what actions are key to take on a daily basis in order to attain the end result that they want, the key people that they need to interact with, collaborate with, or motivate or manage on a daily basis in order to produce results, the key beliefs that they need to have in order to produce the results that they want. We teach people how to write a flexible plan of action by imagining themselves already where they want to be, and then imagining how they got there. Because the biggest thing that people give you with a plan of action is, I don't know how to get there. I know you don't know how to get there, but actually you probably know more how to get there than you realize, right? And so just remember one thing: the plan of action needs to be flexible, stay flexible. An airplane is off course over 90% of the time. It only needs to be on course 2 times, right? When it takes off and when it lands, right? So that's the way life is. That's the way business is. If I tell you how Microsoft got started, it would blow your mind. I mean, these guys didn't even own the computer they were writing the software for, the Altair 8080, okay? And they promised to deliver this software to the owners of that company. So, um, the Gates and Paul Allen story is an amazing story, and these guys just had a flexible plan of action. They just kept changing the plan of action. The key is this: plans change, dreams don't. You write your plans in the sand, your dreams you write in concrete. Okay? And then once you have that flexible plan of action, you take inspired action. You take inspired action. You listen to your intuition. You take action on your plan of action. When you see something's not working, you stay flexible. You change the action, but you just take total action all the time. Okay? And then the last step in the formula, which is probably the most powerful of all of the steps. I tell people in my seminars that if you get this last step, really the rest is insignificant. Okay, it's just almost like an art that takes some time to truly understand, and I call that the be it principle. And the be it principle basically means this: if you could think like the person who already has what you want, if you could believe like the person who already has what you want, if you could act like the person who already has what you want, you would have everything that you want, like that. Okay? So what I do is I teach people how to, remember the A and B, right? So I teach people how to go across the bridge from where they are to where they truly desire to be. Okay? And, I use some meditation and visualization techniques, self-hypnosis, to teach people how to go across that bridge to where they truly desire to be. And then, you know, imagine themselves already being, having, and doing those things that they desire. Okay? The trick is you got to feel it. You've got to feel like you already are that person. Okay? And then come back across the bridge to where you are and act like the person who already has it. I used to hear years and years ago some of my old mentors used to say, "Fake it till you make it." Now that rubbed me wrong because that whole fake thing just didn't sound right. Later I started saying, faith it till you make it. And that had a lot more true ring to it to me. But this be it principle essentially is that, it essentially is assume the consciousness of your desire already fulfilled and act like it. Act like the person who already is, has, and does what you desire, and then you will produce it so quickly that it'll blow your mind. I mean, it will just be amazing. So, I hope that this little bit of information we've shared here today gives you a little bit of, background on me and shows you some, some of the things that I work with people on. And, I'd be honored if you'd come to my website and check out some of the stuff. I'm posting stuff continually. I'm posting now a series on how to have your best year in 2012, going through some of these principles. I give a lot of free material away. Sign up for, for my list. We send you the keys to success and freedom, a series absolutely free. It was seminars that I did on over the internet and PowerPoint and so forth, presentations. Some of this material very similar. We got a bunch of free material. It's just carlosmarin.com, CARLOS Marin, MARIN.com, and there's a program too, an audio program similar to what I was talking here about tonight. It's a 10 audio program called Automatic Riches, and that's just automaticriches.com. But if you like, go to the website, carlosmarin.com, and just check out some of the stuff that we have, some of the free stuff. And in January, my book will be coming out as well. And hope that you'll pick that up and use it to create tremendous success in your coming new year. But I'd love the opportunity to come back and chat with you some more in the future and give you some more of these principles. My mission is to empower people to know the true power that they have within them and use that power to be free and live their highest vision in life. So I hope that you've enjoyed this today and that you'll be you'll be getting a lot out of this. And I think Paul's saying something about a giveaway. So I guess we have a giveaway today. And so anyways, it's been my pleasure talking to you. God bless you. Look forward to seeing the near future. And I'm going to turn this back over to Paul or Larry, whoever is supposed to talk now. So God bless. See you soon.
Thank you, Carlos, for joining us. Brenda, if you're in the room, if you could do a random.org for us, please, that would be awesome. One thing, Carlos, I'd like to ask you is, you mentioned about playing the piano earlier, learning where the keys are, the white keys and the black keys. And I think you would agree that maybe as we go through this ultimate success formula, define your desires. We want to learn how to play the piano, correct? And so we establish our intentions that, yes, we want to do that. We do some other things, and then after we get down to the point here on number 7, take inspired action. We've learned the music, we've learned where the keys are, and then down to number 8, we be it. Then once we get familiar with our path, with our mindset, then we can kind of close our eyes and we automatically know where our hands go on the keys. We know the music and we can just let the music flow. Would you agree with that, my friend?
Absolutely, Randy. That's exactly it. When you achieve that level of mastery, it's what athletes call being in a flow state, and that's exactly what it is. It's automatic. It's free flowing. You live it. You are it. You feel it. It's part of your. It's just part of your being. And in life, what we are is what we attract, and what we are is what we produce in our lives. And so that's what Be It is all about. I mean, it's actually a lot simpler than it seems, but in the piano example, that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about just going, and I know people think going with the flow is not exactly what we're supposed to do, but it really is. If your life is aligned with your purpose, which we also teach in the Defining Your Desires, if you align with your purpose in life, if you align with your desires, the attainment of those comes about actually quite effortlessly. And I'm not the piano player, but my wife plays the piano incredibly. I mean, she's like a concert pianist, and I just love to sit there and watch her play, because her fingers just flow across the keys and just so effortlessly, and she closes her eyes and just feels the music. And so it's amazing. And I got a little 15-year-old daughter who's following along those footsteps, except she sings like an angel as well. So that's exactly it. And very perceptive of you, my friend, very perceptive. God bless, and see you soon.
Well, Carlos, once again, thank you for being here. We appreciate you sharing your time with us. I know you're a busy person and got a huge schedule to deal with, but I would absolutely love